that sound can mean only two things. Footy's back. Those are the two things. This is Footy Unfilterated. I'm your host, James Clements, and up and about James Clements, he's got the Carlton t-shirt on. He's got the Carlton hat on. And I'll tell you what, our long national nightmare is apparently over. With me on the other side of this here screen is everyone's favourite Bombers fan. He might have been replaced on the weekend by the bloke I was sitting next to in the pub watching the Bombers, but it is Jez. Jez, what's going on?
Oh, I'm just I'd just like to announce that we've come to a mutual decision, Jim, but I just don't think I can continue any longer. So I'll be stepping down. So. Nah. Well, look, what's cracking is I'm just recovering from the almighty Scarfighter 2 at the Bendigo Hotel. What a cracking night that was! Obviously, you and I caught up for a couple of jars, and then caught up with our man Gaz and watched his show. What an awesome show that was! So it hurt me a lot to say that to Gaz, but. Yeah, had a ball, Jim. How about yourself?
I found myself standing there with my buddy at the start of the Deftones, having found him, triangulating his position thanks to this wonderful new invention we have at shows called camera phones, which is amazing. The show then started and discovered that we were in the middle of a huge mosh pit. Me being a very old man with a bung Achilles, I'm like, oh, this is not good. I was wearing inappropriate shoes as well, i.e. fancy, expensive ones. And I lasted, I don't know, I lasted probably about half the set, but Deftones was awesome. So, and so was Footy. So we're going to talk out round 9. We're going to talk all the Voss things. Footy's back. We've got a sack coach. That's always fun. So we're going to wrap up round 9 real quick. We'll do our weekly awards. We'll do some Yenars. We've got a great listener Yenar in there as well. We've got the round 10 pick and previews as well. So there's lots going on. So let's get into it. This is Footy without the bull. It's Footy Unfilterated. Oh, there we go, Jez. And that sound you heard was the axe. Oh, wait, no, it was a resignation. That was someone sliding a piece of paper across the desk and going, I'm out. But, of course, it's Carlton, so there's probably about 87 different knives in that back, which is always good. There was a meeting.
Do you reckon he walked in there and he said, as he was about to walk in and hand in this piece of paper, saw all of his stuff packed in boxes with Michael Voss written on it?
This is
here.
Weird coincidence. Jeez, I don't know about this. But it all obviously came about there was a meeting. So Michael Voss is out as the Carlton head coach, which is probably 9 months too late. And here we are, but I'll get to that in a second. The entire vibe was very odd as the story is broken today. It turns out there was a lunch last week and Voss had been in attendance with a couple of the big power brokers of Carlton, the president, footy boss, etc. Walked out of there having essentially gone, no, I'm out. Peace. I'll catch this. Then Carlton put in one of their most spirited performances of the season, and you do have to wonder if he told them at halftime. But still.
Well, I mean, if they were up by 6 goals, he probably would have been able to use that. But
maybe. Anyway, I'll get to that in a second. Josh Fraser takes over as the interim coach. But look, I don't know. Anytime you have to hold on to a career under 500 head coach into a new season and not, clean house and reset the vibes, which were clearly broken heading into the year. You got to keep that bloke around. 0-2 in his basically head coaching career in 5-year stints with both Brisbane and the Blues. 89 and 115 all time. So it's like a very clear case of his being a legendarily awesome bloke to be around, which seems fine.
And obviously a legendary player.
A legend of the game. He's standing in the game. He's stuck around this long in both stints purely because of that for the most part, because it wasn't It wasn't results based. So there we go. 1-7 this year, Jez, after 5 blown halftime leads, which is...
And probably should be 0-8, let's be honest.
They Richmond's
had no place winning that Richmond game.
Tom Lynch is the only reason that Carlton are 1-7. So remarkable
If it weren't for
stuff.
Tom Lynch, we might have been talking about this 6 weeks ago.
Yep. It might have changed a little bit there, but I don't know. So what I have enjoyed is, and when I say enjoyed, I mean really just every time you read the articles, just one more punch in the guts after the other. You're like, oh, I remember that. That sucked. Oh, I remember that. That sucked. Oh, I remember that. That was horrible. So, yeah, that's just been our Carlton life for the last little bit. So, a couple of my favourite moments. We're just going to go chronological. The loss to Collingwood after 3 other losses where we only need to win 1 game in our last 4 to make the finals, and we miss out by 0.05%. My favourite part of that was my old man messaging me and going, wow, we've got this one. And I'm like, oh, God.
Whoa. That's you just don't do that.
I'm like, you know better.
Don't do it.
You're old enough to know better.
Sorry,
that
Dad.
one. Yep, that one was a tough one. So they blew the games to Adelaide, Brisbane, then the Cozzy Pickett goal to Melbourne, and then the Pies, Jamie Elliott goal. That was horrible because they had at least like righted the ship to a degree where it's like, this is kind of okay, and then it all just fell apart in the exact opposite way. And you're like, and then it started horribly in 2023 as well. They just kept that vibe going completely and then somehow turned it around where they rip off the 9 straight wins and make the 8, and 2 of my favourite footballing experiences of my life occur. The win in the elimination final over Sydney and then the semi-final win over Melbourne at the G. Sitting next to my old man at the Sydney game, his first ever footies final he'd ever been to, like in person, like it was chaos.
Nice.
He was also just recovering from like a quadruple bypass like a year or so ago. Halfway through this game, I'm like, oh, I've made a horrible mistake. I might kill my old man here. This is... Whoops.
He should have been banned from watching Carlton games for a long, long time.
He really should have. It was pretty rough. But then the euphoria after winning that game, again, holding on to win that game too. And then the same thing happens in the Melbourne game where you've got the Blakers goal literally in front of us. I was at the top of the southern stand, well, the Shane Warne stand.
I remember it well.
He runs in, slots it, nearly misses it, by the way. We're above that. We're on like level 3 or whatever. Me and a Melbourne supporter, mate, and I'm just off my head. I'm in tears. I'm having a great time. It's prelim. And then it's even more of a kick in the guts when you remember they were 5 goals up over Brisbane at the Gabba the next week in the prelims.
Yeah.
So that was clearly Carlton's
where it all started, you could say.
Best chance at winning a flag in the last 27 years. So not great. Not great.
Yep.
Because that lead in the prelim against Brisbane, I'm sitting there going, I don't want to get my hopes up, but we're in the ground. Oh, you sons of bitches. Like, as soon as the thought crossed my mind, Jez, it was over because Brisbane are very
sometimes you just can't help it. Sometimes it's just one of those evil thoughts that you just go, oh, why did I think that?
Yeah. What if we just won? Yep. What if we just won and we were in the grand final? Just what if? What if?
It's not fun.
And that was the last bit of success because it all turns round 17, 2024. Jeez, that's just that'll take your head off. Wow. It all turns, however, for the bad. There was an amazing win that I took the squid to where we beat Geelong. That was a great vibe.
I do remember that.
We lost to Geelong.
There was a lot of talk about Carlton winning that game.
We lost to Geelong, and then like in a frantic comeback where this is like one of those we don't leave early kind of vibes, you know, where that family, we're not leaving early, pal. And that was because of the first Geelong game that season where they, you know, were getting killed and they came flying back. But anyway, and then round 17, 2024, the first quarter against GWS, we're at the pub watching this one. I'm like, there's a great pub up near us called the Railway Hotel in Brunswick, big screen outside. And it was a beautiful afternoon. Nice. Took the squids and old mate up there, watched a bit of it. You're like, this is great. There's a bunch of, it's Brunswick. There's a bunch of Blues supporters around having a great old time. The highest quarter score kicked in a game that year in the first quarter. up to that point.
Not bad. Not bad.
And with about a minute to go in the end of the first quarter, Darcy Jones kicked a goal. And I'm like, that was annoying. And then we were only up by 2 points at halftime. And I'm like, we're going home from the pub because it's getting cold. The little one's a bit small. He's only like 1 at this point. So beat a hasty retreat, and just as well because we got our heads kicked in, end up losing that one. And you're like, that was bad. And then that turns into they were second on the ladder at that point, Jess. Second on the ladder, more than a game up on third as well. And it all fell apart. And 2024 famously end up scraping into the 8 just because of Freo winning out west. We lose to St Kilda in the final game of the season with everybody injured. Jack Higgins kicks a famous goal. I'm on camera live in the studio having a heart attack. It was horrible. And at that exact point, so they would, in that GWS game, they go from, 52-13. They lose 108. Well, they're down 108 to 72 at three-quarter time. It's just gross.
That is a massive turnaround.
And they go on to win 12 of their next 40 games. That's not many.
It's not great.
And then famously got killed. They got straight. I think I can play that drop. Let's do it.
He got straight killed.
They got straight killed.
He got straight killed.
Down 60-0 at that point at the Gabba in the elimination final. We had gone up, myself and the Squid. I've got a then 5-year-old sitting next to me in tears. And I'm like, this is child abuse. I put him on a plane. I flown him to Brisbane. We're hanging out for a weekend, and Carlton are getting their heads absolutely kicked in. This is horrible.
Yeah.
They fought back, and again, there's a turning point in that game. Pito is right in front of us. We're part of, there's a bunch of Blues supporters actually around near us, which was nice because it was collective sadness. Pito basically just hit in the guts with the ball in front of us in the wing, and he doesn't mark it, you see. It, in fact, bounces off his stomach, ricochets, and I think Starcevic was still on the lines at that point because he ended up going to the Eagles, right? I think he snags it inside 50, goal. And that was the exact end of the moment where there was any chance they were going to actually mount a proper comeback and win. And so that was it. That was the end of the Carlton successful experiment of hey, let's just not be bad for 3 years. What do you reckon? And it's this is actually really fun. And here we are. Michael Voss is now gone.
So in a similar thing, I think it might have been 2015, maybe 2016, when Richmond, who long suffering up to that point, same thing, made the finals on the last round of the year with a win over St Kilda, who were highly fancied, and then had to play Port Adelaide over in Adelaide. And I remember knowing people, some from Ballarat, others from Melbourne, who made the pilgrimage over to Adelaide to watch this game. And I think it all started when Trent Cotchin pointed the wrong way when he won the toss. And it all went downhill from there.
Love that. Yep.
Port Adelaide won by about 80 points or something like that. And, of course, they all had to make the sad pilgrimage back across the border and through Horsham and Ballarat to wherever it is that lived. So, but then 2 years later, they won the first of 3 out of 4 grand final wins. So that was supposed to be Carlton this year, if you ask all those people who believe in omens. So, and the second one. Now, obviously, we know that Carlton had their issues with brown paper bags back in the 90s, which cost them a lot in the 2000s. And then they were starting to pull things together around the same time that my beloved Bombers decided they'd start injecting themselves with foreign substances. And if you remember, Jim, that year when it all came out, that Carlton were actually afforded a final spot at the expense of Essendon, who were kicked out. And this is a bit of a tinfoil hat here, but I reckon that their success or lack of since then is a curse. I reckon Kevin Sheedy, he waved a bone or his jacket or whatever and did a few of these at some of their players and put a curse on them, and that's all Essendon's fault, and I love it. Sorry.
I mean, it does strike me as a bit odd because it has been 7,914 days since Essendon won a final. So it's a bit rough to be like, who's
We
the
were
curse?
about to win a flag that year, and Carlton decided to jump in and pinch our spot.
It's like, who's really being cursed here? Because we actually beat Richmond in that elimination final, which is still hilarious. Like, the only team to be beaten by 9th on the ladder is Richmond. Thanks.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. But
The irony is hilarious.
But that's also part of the Carlton lore, because that was when Brett Ratton was sacked like a year later, despite just being decimated by injuries, and he's a beloved favourite son. And like, there's a lot of weird sort of stuff. Like, people go, "Oh, Ratton wasn't that much trouble. If he had been, he'd like stuck around other places." He had done a fantastic job with that list, with those Blues. He'd gotten them to where they were. And
he certainly didn't deserve the treatment he copped.
And the first shiny thing over here, the same thing had happened before and time again. So this time it's Mick Malthouse. I always hated the Malthouse approach. I'm like, I don't want anything to do with the Mick Malthouse experience. And so Ratton's gone. Malthouse comes in. He's gone. We have the Bolts, the Teague train, and the Voss experience. And you're like, this has just been ineptitude after ineptitude after ineptitude.
And look, to be serious, it probably could. If you were going to point to a curse of some sort, it's probably when they gave Ratton the flick.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they had
I've
the
always
ship
believed
righted.
that. So.
They had everything heading in the right direction. The list was looking good, and they just needed to make some tweaks to it. And then as soon as they brought Mick Malthouse in, it just crumbled again. Similar to when Dennis Pagan came in, although I think they were right in the middle of all those sanctions due to John Elliott and his
There is one other underrated aspect of the Carlton curse is Cade Simpson relinquishing the captaincy to a newly arrived Chris Judd, which I never appreciated that much either. I do love Judd, man of Judd, absolute stellar superstar, beloved Carlton figure. But Cade Simpson is probably even more beloved, at least in this house. Well, in this household, we love Cade Simpson.
You could point to a few others who were probably unfairly treated, depending on who you ask. But Fev, did he really need to be given the flick? Obviously, it turned out that he probably did.
Probably.
This day and age, he probably gets another shot with Carlton before he gets the flick. But there's another probably 300 or 400 goals if they had have maybe looked at assisting him rather than getting rid of him that could have helped in that thing. But yeah, you're right. Those sort of decisions that, for people who have been loyal to Carlton, it doesn't, and it's the same in all footy clubs at the end of the day, it doesn't always go both ways. So
yeah, I think a lot of the weird decision making about going along with Voss into this year was like a lot of there's sort of like, we don't, we're trying to make level-headed decisions. It's like I don't think this is a decision that you're making. I think this is a justification of what you've already done, and you're trying to sort of like reverse engineer we're being loyal to our guy when the bloke ends up winning 49 of 103 matches as coach, right? It's like you're reverse engineering your reasoning here, and that's the wrong way to approach these things usually. It's like we need to like go, what is the objective point of view, and how do we sort of make this? And like Melbourne did a great job of it with Stephen King. It's obvious, right? And with a list in a sort of similar kind of weird sort of limbo in the same way that Carlton's is, where you've got old heads, some young dudes, and it's all kind of a bit of a mess. Anyway, there you go. 49 of 103 matches. Seems like a good bloke.
Adios.
Oh, well, what are you going to do? Now, Josh Fraser gets to tinker, and I think the news has come down from on high already that he's basically just going to go throw it all up against the wall. Lots of different stuff going to be tried. And I, for one, am excited to see what happens because they might just sneak out 1 or 2 extra wins this year. But at the same time, with the new draft changes and the father-son rules, it probably behooves us to not actually win too many more games. And if we end up with a wooden spoon,
you would think so.
We at least
Josh Fraser, from all reports, has been a really good development coach and has been one of those sort of assistant coaches that has been sort of interviewing over the last 10 years for jobs and probably missing out because of where he's at. But from all reports, he's a really good development coach, and I remember playing against him in the under-9s, and he was about 6'1" at 9, and I was a tall kid, so I was always a tall kid, but there's always one kid in everything I did that was taller than me, and he was it. and I couldn't. He just stood there, and I couldn't beat him. But knew him through a few people that I went to high school with, and really lovely bloke. And hopefully he does really well. Be good to see Carlton stay down the bottom for a lot longer, but I wish him all the best.
Nice. All right, there you go. That's a lot of Voss talk already.
That's a lot of Carlton. Jeepers.
There's a lot of names being flown around out there as well. I think Adam Simpson's still probably my preferred
Got to be
candidate.
Adam Simpson.
They're like, oh, maybe we'll try like a first-time head coach again. It's like there is a lot of really good coaching talent out there, I guess, but Simon Goodwin is not one of them, if you ask me, so I don't want to see that name thrown around ever again. But yeah, Adam Simpson, I got a lot of time for that. But obviously, so that's the Voss story this week. It's the biggest thing. If you look at just, I don't know, everywhere, there's a million stories and it's big. Carlton are a big club. They fired their coach. Oh, he resigned. The other one is Pendles. And that's been the big story this week where he's going to make a bunch of money from his merch, which is kind of cool, a bit weird, but it also came out and it's like, oh, but he's also going to donate a bunch of this to like a charity. And you're like, oh, that's okay then. Because I guess him flogging off a bunch of merch and game-worn jerseys to claw back some of the money from some of his many numerous bad investments seems a bit on the nose. So here we are. Look, I'm glad that we can all sort of contribute to bail him out after getting continually ripped off, weirdly. But some of that money's going to a charity, so it's all good.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Just... It's fine. Okay, Pendles, do your thing.
But what's the point of carrying on about it? Because it's going to happen whether the media carry on or not. So, yeah, good on you.
Got to take advantage of those Collingwood fans somehow.
That's true.
But really, other than that, there's not been a giant amount of news this week. Like Naz missed his game up in the NT. Bit of a weird situation where he had gone, I think, up there. And then it was a late admission. It was a very strange one. But otherwise, like we had Tinglish cop a concussion, so he's out for this week. Edwards copped a concussion out there on the Eagles as well. We were actually watching that as it happened. It was like, geez, blood just went everywhere. And we had Tom Barrass doing a hammy, which looked horrible when it actually happened.
Yeah.
And I think, was it Cal Wilkie's got the one with the knee? Was it the knee to the back, I think, that got him? And
I think so, yeah.
So he's played 164 straight games and now has the, I don't know, that streak in jeopardy.
Yes, well, hopefully he can get an injection or get a cup of cement or whatever and just get up. So
there we go. All right. That's kind of it. So the biggest news is Voss. So we've done that. Right.
Yeah.
Let's fly through these game wraps. Round 9, what a round it was. It was really, really, really good for a lot of these games, which was very fun. And then it sort of started petering off, basically by the second half of the round. But we did start with an absolute ripper. Freo 88, Hawthorn 73. A crazy game taken over by Luke Jackson in the end. And Freo came from the clouds to get by the Hawks in Freo. This one was awesome, Jez.
Yeah, it was a cracker. I think Tom Barrass was a massive loss for these guys, and yeah, it sort of. I thought Hawthorn were just going to be too strong, but Freo, they showed that they can. We were talking about this in the last couple of weeks that they've just been doing enough to beat the average and slightly better sides, and then this week maybe is this a week where they're going to have to show us whether they can and are one of those top teams, and they are one of those top teams. Yeah. So, yeah, and now you look at it, their only loss has been 10 points down at Geelong to Geelong, which is, the way they're going is, not bad. Not bad at all.
There you go. Good job, Freo. That was an awesome game.
Yeah, cracker.
Then we had Friday, Brisbane Carlton. I turned this off at halftime and then turned it back on because I was like, half watching Port Dogs on the iPad, and we chucked the new Jurassic Park movie on the telly. And then I'm like, I'm going to have to turn the Carlton game back on. Are you kidding? I don't want to do this. And then, of course, it's the hope that kills you. I'm like, there you go. So 189, They came flying back. They were very, very good in the second half. And I don't know. I've never wanted to punch an 18-year-old.
It's a pleasant change.
It was. It was very nice to have it
It was a
reversed.
very pleasant change.
Just imagine if they had shown up for the game as well.
Mm.
That was a big problem. Harry Mackay looked awesome late. He was just sort of dominant again. It's like, that's what we've been wanting all year. What is happening here? But I think their ball usage was a little bit better in the back half. It did also feel a bit like the Lions had put the cue in the rack, though, and just they'd sort of cruised off into the Brisbane night at like literally 5 minutes into the second half. They're like, we've done enough here. And then bit of a scare, but that's all right. Then we had an absolute ripper. Power Dogs 72-74 at the Adelaide Oval. Holla! This was an awesome game.
This was a game and a half. This was so good.
You're almost thinking like Hawthorn could have been involved in this because it's such a game of the year candidate. We do know that the Hawks are addicted to games of the year. So, but the Dogs win it. Basically, we had a desperate smother. You've got chaos reigning. Artie Jones just carving it up. This was, a game that Freo, they keep losing these games is kind of what I'm trying to say, right? They've lost 4 games this year by under a kick. And
the Dogs, you mean?
The Power. They just keep losing the close games.
You said Freo. Sorry. I'm being pedantic.
Freo. Power keep losing these games.
Yeah.
And it's getting a bit weird, but I don't know. Like, they're a team. What are they now? They're 3-6, and they could easily be like, what's that, 7-2? Like a little bit of a change here and there, but
they've got a percentage of like 102 or something as well. So the couple of the wins they've had have been monsters.
109.5.
Oh, there you go. It's even more.
And they're 14.
Like for a team that's 3 and whatever the hell.
That's chaos. That's a fun one. But I don't know, the Dogs' resilience in like the face of such adversity is like to be very much appreciated. And it was a chaos game. I'm like watching this, just like losing my brain as I'm sort of tracking it along. And Power came flying back. And then, was it Harvey? It was Will Lewis and Harvey Gallagher. Basically, they're just like in the forward line, just getting the ball forward. And the desperation, like just get it across the line. Just get it. Any score will do. It doesn't matter. And they managed to pull it off because it was absolute chaos there at the end. The Durden goal that got them right there, and then boom, the 2 rush behinds, and Dogs win. Absolute chaos. Very fun. I enjoyed
this one. It was a cracker.
Georgiades is looking very, very good. If he could kick straight, he'd be like, I don't know, on his way to 100.
He'd almost be leading the goal kicking if he could kick straight. So,
but that was an awesome one. Then we had North Sydney, another great game, 97-105. Sydney nearly blew this. North did blow it because they were up, and then Sydney almost blew it again, and it was chaos. It was back and forth. It was awesome. A wildly entertaining game at Marvel. And I think this was the thing I said last week for the Sleevos Punters Club. Always go the over between these two teams. This smashes the over, 105-97. And North are up by 3-4 goals early, and just Sydney sort of pulled them back. I think they led at the half as well, the Roos. And you're like, this is pretty awesome. They snuck back in the fourth quarter as well after it sort of Sydney had wrested control.
They just didn't go away. It was, it was actually really good. It's sort of the last couple of years of North is when Sydney put their foot down in that third quarter is when they would normally just fall away and get done by 7-8 goals, even more. But it's the best part, even though they got beaten pretty soundly by Geelong, but the best part is to see them starting to really lock in and have a crack. And it's not the old stages, it's all the young dudes who have been developed very well, in my opinion, by Alistair Clarkson and his group of coaches. It was. I couldn't stop watching this game. It was great.
It was very, very, very fun. So that was good. LDU, Shees, Luke Parker. It was great fun. Then GWS Essendon. So sitting in the pub watching this while Essendon were up, next to a couple of Bombers fans.
We're a good lot.
I didn't say a word, and they're like, this isn't going to hold. I'm like, yeah, look, maybe it will. It didn't. It didn't.
No.
It did not. So 103.89, but the Bombers were in control of this game for a very large swathe of it. Jez, what happened?
I think what happened is we crapped ourselves in that third quarter and let them back in. I was watching this on the train on the way in, started watching it at home, watching it on the train on the way in to see our mate Gaz perform. And I think it was just before the end of the third when they basically just gave the ball to GWS in the goal square, and I turned my phone off. And I just said, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not going to do this. But look, the biggest thing, and I think Carlton, Richmond, Essendon, West Coast all have the same problem, and it's a common theme amongst teams that are bottoming out, is they get killed on the transition. And that was literally how GWS got most of their score. Essendon would work the ball up. They play very well to their offensive game plan when the other team's defence isn't doing that great. But then on the turnovers, we got absolutely murdered on the turnover, and that is literally the strength of GWS. And you'll find that's the same with most of these bottom teams, is that the transition is the last thing these young teams tend to learn. So Richmond are in the same boat, West Coast are in the same boat. And it's because when you train to your game plan, and you train to start with how it's going to work. And then when you train your defensive side of it, you train it with time to get set up, if that makes sense. What you can't simulate at training is transition, that quick transition, because your team isn't as good as the teams that you're going to get torn up against. So, and this is where I think a lot of coaches, and I probably should say this for a bit later, but this is where, not coaches, where a lot of media knobs tend to just jump the goat a little bit with saying, oh, rebuild's no good. No. I think we've seen that Alistair Clarkson, it's taken him 3 or 4 years to get his North Melbourne team to where it's at. It's probably going to take Essendon another couple of years of losses and playing these kids who are getting torn up on the transition. West Coast are probably going to be the same. Richmond, obviously. But if you use that example of the long game, and I think Essendon and Richmond in particular can afford to do it, I'm pretty happy with that result, even though I feel like we could have won, probably should have won. Don't like seeing Jake Stringer play well, but also don't like Jake Stringer, so whatever.
Yeah, that goal, that, as you said, that three-quarter time goal that he kicked as well, it was such a kick.
Anyone else.
Yep. Tough on Essendon, but hey, they were feisty. My beloved Suns, 89, St Kilda, 60. No Naz, no Saints. They lose Cal Wilkie as well during the game, and you're like, ooh. And then they kicked 6 unanswered goals, basically to take control of the game too, which is pretty crazy. I was watching this the next day, and I'm like, whoa, that's how they did it. And you're like, oh, greasy up there in the NT.
Yeah.
And my favourite thing, though, was the weapon, Johnny Noble. Absolutely carved it up. He was awesome and absolutely everywhere. So that was a very fun one. But, yeah, they're now 9-0 at TIO up there in Darwin, which is amazing.
Unreal, isn't it?
My beloved Suns, the 27th parallel. It's no joke, Jez. No joke.
No. I've been a staunch supporter of yours and your theory, so I think that's
Love that.
It was interesting, Ross coming out and saying that, you know, everyone should get a bite of the pie. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think everyone should play up there.
Yeah.
I think
what, to take away the advantage from the 2 games a year that Gold Coast give up?
Yeah, I mean, Gold Coast sort of spending their time up there makes sense. I think they should play. Gold Coast would probably want to play more there, but I mean, it's such a pain in the butt to get to Carrara anyway, I think, on the Gold Coast. But the NT, it does feel like there should be at least, because we've got a couple of other games smattered around. You've got Alice Springs and stuff. I think we should actually sort of cater a little bit more up there. So, but anyway, no.
Well, especially if they do look to get a side up there at some point, it probably is. Yeah,
definitely.
Anyway,
then Geelong smashed the Pies, 122-68. It was just no one was good. I think Jordan De Goey was good on the Pies, and that was it. And yeah,
Dacos was well below his best, but he did have a player hanging off him. If you ask Craig McRae.
Oi, Sheen. That was just a domination where the Cats are like, yes, we are really good. I told you.
Bailey Smith, 40 touches.
They spread the goal kickers around as well. It's not just Jez. Yeah. Like, it was everybody. They smashed it. So that was a really good win for the the Cats. Melbourne just curb stomped West Coast out of the gate. Cozzy, I didn't mention this in the news, but he might have been up for a bit of a suspension, bit of a break.
I did see that bump, and then straight away I thought, nah, he's good.
That's it. No, I don't think we've got nothing yet. So 99.67, basically it was all window dressing. Cozzy was actually really well. How was it? Brady Hoff did that to him. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, he's well held, actually. I think he was well down in there.
It's like 14 touches.
Yeah, which is probably the first time all year he's been held under 25.
Got an awesome game this week, though, which would be fun. And then I think, Van Rooyen had 5 in that game too.
He did.
Pretty good.
5 goals to him, 3 to Jake.
And there's 2 things in this as well. Like, so not many people there at that Melbourne West Coast game, and very few folks over at the Richmond Adelaide game. Yeah, so Marvel and MCG on Mother's Day. Bit of a problem. We'll talk about that in a second. Richmond 61, Adelaide 98. Tigers were in this. And then they weren't. Bit of a weird one.
15 minutes of footy by the Crows and it's all over, Red Rover.
We're watching this at Mother's Day afternoon tea, and everybody expressing their, surprise about the Tigers, and then the inexorable, that'll do, I guess. With one Tigers fan in the family, it was a bit of a pile-on, but that's all right. So good job by the Crom over here. Smashed them. Almost, I reckon, outnumbered the Tigers fans there too, which is a bit of a strange one. So there's your round 9 wrap and all your news. Let's go do some weekly AFL awards. Right, weekly AFL awards here, Gaz. We've got Gablet Areas, best on ground of the week. Easy one for me. Luke Jackson, dominate. Not just because we're good mates, but also because he's awesome. I met him once. It was fantastic. He's a legend. He was so good in that fourth quarter, just like begged belief almost. Like dominated. Didn't matter where he was as well. Yeah. Like the inside 50s, in the ruck, he went absolutely spare. And the other one's Isaac Rankin, who just went off his head as well against the Tigers.
He was amazing. Yeah.
He was really good in that game. So they're my 2 favourite. Who have you got?
I am going to go with a combination of, I think Bailey Smith was pretty good again with 40 touches, but Archie Roberts, 42 disposals. It's just hard to believe he's only, 20 years old.
It's crazy.
So, and he's racking up those sort of numbers, but he's also having those sort of numbers and having an impact on the game, which is awesome. So I'm going to give it to my boy, Archie.
Love it. Good bloke of the week. Who are you buying a beer this week? I will buy Michael Voss a beer. Because I feel, again, I don't know. The one thing I didn't mention at the top was the weird Jared Waitley soliloquy that we got today. A more pompous, fart-sniffing, rambling, absolute, insufferably pompous soliloquy you will never hear again. And this is what you get when you say... And it's like, dude, you're the one yelling. It's untenable. You and Gary Lyon during the week were saying it's like he's got to go... All these people pushing him out the door. Shut up, Jared. Whack. If Robbo was still alive, we wouldn't be copying this. I'm just saying. Anyway, so
wait, I will... is Robbo not?
No, he's not dead, but...
okay.
I think... To my knowledge, I mean, has anyone?
We'll go with his. Hello to you, Robbo.
We might want to go check his weird St Kilda abode, but anyway,
friend of the show, Robbo.
I think there's like a weird balance of someone like Jared Waitley, and again, this is a big footy media thing, and this is why I like doing this show. We're not footy media. We're not insiders. We're just like fans who are just seeing everything that happens.
I'm not even media.
True. I'm just a guy.
I'm just a dude.
But Waitley, there's like a weird conflation of like, good guy. Why is this happening to him? It's like, because he's bad at his job. And the results prove that. Like there's no, like, it's not a personal vendetta. Like at some point, like if someone's just crappy at their job, sometimes you just have to go, I think it's time for you to go. It's not because
you might need to try something else.
Maybe not a bad
fire fitting or digging post holes or something else. So you're not cut out for this. Sorry, Michael.
I will buy Vossi a beer and go, thank you for 2 of the greatest moments of my life, those 2 finals wins, and you've also given me two of the biggest kick in the guts and made my son cry on multiple occasions. But we can have a ting because you seem like a good dude. But the other one is obviously Brad Scott, because now that Vossi's gone, the spotlight firmly moves ding, 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 Essendon, Brad Scott. And I feel like this iteration of the Bombers, it's either like long haul or like you are now going to see the results of like a Carlton axing, and Essendon fans will be like, can we have that? Let's do that one.
Yeah.
And
I think there's probably 50-50 there. Honestly, I think that you could, if I did a poll just of my Essendon friends alone, it'd be 50-50 on those who think he's on the right track and those who are opposed. It's such a polarizing person as a coach. One thing I will say about him is that the games I have watched, there are shoots there, as they have been saying in the media, but you can see what they're trying to do. And as I said before, they're getting carved up on the transition, and when they have a bad day, they have a shocking day. So I think there's a little bit more. Whereas with Voss, you had no idea what the hell was going on. And he didn't look like he knew what was going on. Yet he was still stood there.
Giant arms.
Or his arms out the side, yeah. So...
Yeah, we gingers don't look good confused. Like, it doesn't – it's not a look that behooves us. And a lot of the time we are confused because we're gingers and we don't really belong.
I couldn't tell if he was confused or he was mentally putting together his hit list. Just couldn't tell.
There's some amazing stories. I love a good AFL, now they tell us story as well, because we've copped a lot of those. Just NBA is great for the now they tell us stories. NFL is always good for that. NBA, we're copping it with the Sixers today, where like all the Sixers news comes out about how they hated the front office and Joel Embiid's angry, all this sort of stuff. The Vossy stuff, it's like it was either Curnow or him, and they chose Voss. It's like, I think it's a little bit more than that, because they also realised that they had a chance to replenish like their draft stocks, and Charlie is on the other side of his peak.
Nothing about it,
and we're fine. And so, like, him or me, it's like, I think it's a little bit more complicated. But all the other ones about, like, I think, the game that we went to on my birthday last year was actually one that got brought up. They completely capitulated against North Melbourne. And here we are about Voss again. I love this. They got smoked, and it was so just dispiriting because the season had started in such a good sort of fashion, and then it all just went to absolute hell. And you're like, this is a broken team at this point, and then it just never got any better again. And you're like, this all tracks.
And we're basically 1 or 2 bad weeks away from being in the same boat, to be fair.
And I think
we might have to have a separate pod, Jim, where we just basically, first half is you talking about Carlton and the second half is me talking about Essendon, and then we can have another episode where we do everything else. I reckon we'll probably get it done in half the time. I
like that. We'll just call it a Footy Unfilterated Soggy Sorrows. It'll be good. And so apparently coming out of that North game, Vossy tried to be like the super upbeat guy. Hey, look, this is all the stuff that we did really well. And everyone's like,
shut up.
We just got our heads kicked in by a really bad team. It's good to be like optimistic and show like, and not, blame folks or whatever, but I don't know if you really get this. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Anyway. Brad Scott, there you go. Who are you buying a beer this week, Jez?
I'm going to buy one for the Weagles coach, Andrew McQualter, for pretty much the same reason, because I think he is probably, depending on how the next few weeks go for both teams, he could quite easily move into pole position. I already saw an article by everybody's favourite journo, Jay Clark, saying, can he coach? And it's like, he's 3-28 and or 21 or something, I can't remember. And it's like, mate, he's had this team for 1 year and a bit. You have no idea.
Yeah, it's a bit rough.
So, so the heat's already, the clowns in the media are already starting to look at it, and it's like, come on, mate, like it's a slow progression. Just calm your farm, Jay, and all the rest of you media nerds.
Like the Voss stuff.
And they're the bad nerds, not the good nerds like us.
I like that. The Voss stuff was always like, I think after the worm was turning in the '04 season when it was going badly, that's when the sort of rumblings started, and they just basically all rallied together and saved his job. But then when it turned again in '05 and it was going bad, that's when they should have ripped the Band-Aid off. And I think it's a different sort of position, isn't it? Like McWalter's got this rebuilding team, a dearth of talent that just is going to take 2-3 years to sort of get to like a decent spot, right? I think that's how rebuilds work. So,
and I think that's one thing that North did really well this time, because they've been a broken club for a long time, and then they actually stayed the course and didn't listen to all the crap in the media, and now it's starting to come to fruition. And Melbourne did the same thing when they got Paul Roos in. So sometimes when you've got a club that's been broken for so long, you actually need to go, nah, we're not going to, you need to, and that's where I guess the strength at the board level comes in, where they don't. And I think in Essendon's case, Andrew Welsh is that person, and they've brought Dean Solomon back in as well. And I think Brad Scott will be given every opportunity to show that he is the right man internally. And I think his press conferences have shown that he's probably got a little bit more backing there, because he's been pretty good on the press conferences. Like some of the responses, like the one about the injuries. Yeah, we've got 20 of them. Cry me a river. Like, that's awesome. That's sort of what you want from your coach, that kind of thing, not the Ross kind of thing where you're basically sitting there going, what? What's he on about? What? Who is this guy? So, and same thing with West Coast. I think they've traditionally got pretty sound, solid backing over there. So hopefully the footy media of WA don't get a hold of him and he gets a chance to show that he can at least do the job. So
yeah, good shout. Spud of the week, the Ben Mackay Memorial Spud of the week. He was such a spud he got dropped, which is again pretty crazy.
Awesome.
You have your injury list, but still. I'm giving this one to Levi Ashcroft. But Jim, he's not a spud. He kicked an amazing goal. Yeah, he's a bit of a knob end though, isn't he? Kicked an incredible goal. Let everyone know about it. And yeah, not wildly appreciated, but anyway, they're so good. Like that goal that he kicked, I'm just like, come on, man. Like, I don't think there's a player on our team who could do that. Like, that's just, and you're like 12 years old. This is absurd. So he's not really spud of the week. It's just you annoyed Jim the most this week. The other one
might have to add in a knob of the week, like a Draymond Green style award.
Yep. Brody Kemp's the actual spud of the week, because there is actual stats now that his snaps are horrifyingly more accurate than his set shots, or he's kicking like 38% or something. He went 1 of 3 on set shots in this game against the Lions. A game, Jez, that I don't have to remind you, we lost by 11. So he's had 3 very kickable shots and missed all of them. Not great. So spud of the week, Brody Kemp. He's like a classic third forward, but the problem is we've only got one other forward, so he's the second forward.
And at the moment, he might as well be playing VFL with his twin brother.
Yeah, it's not great. Who have you got there, spud of the week?
I've got the skipper of the Kangaroos, the big Suvalaki, Nick Larkey. He has been pretty down on form, but on the weekend when they really needed a key forward to step up and a captain to step up, he was 0-2 behinds from 8 disposals and not really offering the key target that he is for that team. And yeah, so I think if they are to make a real charge to finals, they really need him to step up and start to clunk a few and start to get on the scoreboard. So because he's got the delivery.
He's breaking my heart. I love the Suva. Yeah.
He started the season really well, and then he's just faded out. And North, and it's like when North have been really challenged by these, the top sides where he seems to have disappeared, which is not a good sign. So hopefully it's just a little bit of down on confidence and he, corrects it and they have a nice big win where he kicks a bag and all things are going, because I really want to see North play finals this year.
That'd be fun.
Hell yeah.
Better than Bootsma, my beloved best mate, Ned Moyle.
Oh, you got a lot of best mates.
I do. I'm a friendly bloke. Ned Moyle is awesome, and I love him. And the one time that we hung out, we became best mates, and I was officially allowed to call him my best mate, Ned Moyle. He battled the $2 million men, if you add their salaries together, Rowan Marshall and Tom De Koning, to a standstill An absolute standstill by himself for the Suns on the weekend because they rested
Love
Witsy
it.
and out came Ned Moyle and his amazing hair. And he was really good. So I love him. He's just a throwback ruckman. He's just got a lot of crap to him, and I'm very, very impressed every time when he gets a chance and he actually gets to play. And I think a spot like that up in the NT sort of suits him as well. Like there's not that much pressure on him on a Saturday evening up against the, sort of bung up Saints where they're all sort of just in struggle town, and he was really good. So great job, Ned Moyle.
All right. So the question I've got for you is when you get your custom Gold Coast Suns jersey, the pink one.
Yep.
Are you going to have number 23 on the back for Ned Moyle, or are you going to stick with Jed Walter, or number 2 for, I don't even know what number Jed Walter is, but number 2 for, see, my dog's like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah. You can't make me pick
number 2 for Johnny Noble for your other best mate.
It's like picking between my kids. It's just like I know which one.
Sometimes you got to.
I know which one's my favourite, but I'm not going to say it out loud, right? Like this is how it goes. So
well, it's gonna be out in the open when you walk around with the number 23 or the number 2 or what's Jed Walter number 7 on his back.
I love Jed Walter. I love Ned Moyle. It might be Jed Walter because I think I fell in love with him first. So
you might have to get the home, away, and the Clash jersey the way you're going.
That's actually a much better idea because I'll get the pink jersey. I'll get one of those sick white ones, maybe one of those horrible blue ones. Like off we go. That'd be great.
Mate, you could have the whole team by the end of the year.
I'm the biggest Suns fan in the land.
Mate, you are.
Who's your better than Bootsma?
My better than Bootsma this week was Will Lewis from the Bulldogs.
The mature
He was awesome. Will Lewis, he's a mature age recruit. I believe he was only picked up on the sorry, I'm just trying to find his statistics here. But he was only picked up a few weeks before the start of the season, and on Friday night when they really needed someone to step up, he was the man. Kicked a couple of goals late, which helped keep them ahead of the power. Didn't have a massive impact on the game, 9 disposals, but yeah, took some really important marks and some inside 50 pressure. So Will Lewis from the Doggies is my man this week.
Love it. Yeah, nahs. Got some yeah, nahs for you here, Jez. Are you okay with our federal bailout of Pendles? Because I'm okay with it, because he's probably got his eye on a horse that definitely can't lose. He's just going to put it all on Blackie or something. I don't know. Like, off he goes.
I'm okay with this. And if you told me that the $15 billion that Jacinta Allen gave to the CFMEU was actually given to Scott Pendlebury, I'd probably be okay with that. But, look, who cares? Yes.
Good on him.
Yeah.
In general, though, are you worried about the Pies? Because it's getting a bit... How you going? They're 4-4-1. They now play Sydney this week at the SCG, which is a tough one. It's one of the great Saturday night looking games. I don't know when that game is. I can only assume Saturday night, but it has Friday night. There you go. It's one of the classic night game looks, Sydney versus Collingwood at the SCG. That's going to be a tough game for them to win. So suddenly below 500, presumably, and no Pendles this week. You got the Pendles brouhaha the week after, but I don't know. And the way they got their heads kicked in by Geelong, it's a bit of a worry, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not worried about them, but I think they're where they are. I think when we did our predictions at the start of the season, I actually had Sydney as my slider, and we both know that they're never going to lose a game ever again in the history of a game.
Yep.
And I think I made the comment at the time that it could quite easily be Collingwood in that boat, and I'm thinking that, maybe flip them around and reverse it, and here we are.
Nice. Will Vossy ever get another coaching gig? Yeah, nah.
Nah. Not as a senior coach. I think he'll... I would assume he'd probably take a break, although I did see that he'd already sat down with Damien Barrett for an exclusive interview, so that little worm didn't waste any time. But I don't think he'll be a senior coach.
So when you were talking to the players, how did they react? Oh, he's such a weirdo. Mother's Day footy, Jez. Yeah, nah, because I've got a vibe here, and what do you reckon? Yeah, nah.
Yeah. And the reason is, and I might steal, I don't know what you're going to say, but I think the 2 games I had on are the reason why Mother's Day footy was a flop.
100%.
So I think what you could do is potentially have a standalone Mother's Day fixture. And I reckon I've just stolen your thunder, haven't I? But yeah, look, at the end of the day, we were at footy for Zach. There was 1,000 games going on around the country that mothers were at, and all the clubs, like our club on Turner South, the team manager did an awesome job at, making sure all the boys had a flower to give to their mum, and the stuff that 15-year-old boys would never think about themselves. But the club did a really great job in the Mother's Day thing and making sure that everyone's mum was recognised, or even grandparents or whatever. So I think definitely, but I'm going to let you take it away here, Jim.
So one of my long-held beliefs, and it's not a huge sort of, oh, wow, where did that one come from, is that mums love footy. They love footy. They love you looking after them as well on Mother's Day. And how we don't have some sort of huge marquee, massive, at the G, we clear out the car park. We put in some marquees for the marquee. And you know what we have? You got Mother's Day afternoon tea and footy. So you buy a ticket to the footy and it's free entry.
Yep.
For the food, everything there, it's free entry for the mums. So they get in free, you got to pay. There we're covering our food and booze costs, but we're talking mimosas. Mums love mimosas. We can go some Bloody Marys. Mums love Bloody Marys. We've got cakes. Mums love cakes, sweets, all the stuff. Savouries, they love savouries. Just sign us all up. This is the easiest fish in a barrel idea that I have absolutely no idea how the AFL haven't jumped on this. To the point where we could have, you only have one game in Melbourne on that Sunday. You can also have another one in Perth, and we can all go back and recover and watch the late game or whatever. And you can do the same in Perth, and it becomes the Mother's Day special. It's very, very simple. I think you've got heaps of space there in the MCG car park that we never use, because we're morons and we don't tailgate. And I feel like this is a way that we could build out and bring some bit of the vibe of the races perhaps, and a little bit of the bird cage. And you've got the car parking vibe there, but you can't drive. So we've got all this marquee set up. You rock up in your Mother's Day nicest. You don't have to do any cooking. You've bought your ticket for your mum, your wife, whatever. You bring in the kids. It's chaos, but then you all go into the footy and you all have an awesome family day out with your mums. Mother's Day footy is not hard. I've been banging on about this quite literally now for years. And again, as the Vice President of Common F and Sense, I don't know how I don't have someone tapping me on the shoulder and go, Jim, you got any other ideas? It's like, yes, I have a few.
And that's when you say, all you have to do is listen to me and Jez on Footy Unfilterated and pay us both high six-figure salaries, and we'll give you everything you need.
Not asking for too much. But that's kind of the vibe, right? I think the hand-wringing about the crowds, it's because it's Melbourne playing West Coast at Marvel, not their home ground.
Yeah.
And Richmond playing, a team from Adelaide who almost outnumbered them in terms of fan. It was just stupid. Anyway, we have Davey K sends in a nah.
The legend himself.
Hey, boys, nah time. The Clippers fleecing the Pacers for the number 5 pick was easily... Sorry, wrong podcast. Enjoyed that. It's still a disaster for the Pacers. But anyway, I do have a couple of nahs on tomorrow's NBA Australia about that as well. I'm not going to step on it.
So make sure you listen.
Fremantle, not Sydney, are actually the only team that will never lose again. Nah. Love your work. Keep up the sensational content. Nah. So I had to look into this, Jess. And I do believe that... Look,
Research Jim.
That's what they call me. They call me Researchy Jim. Freo's run is, I'm going to say, a little bit easier than the Swans, the rest of the way. So you look at their competing fixtures for the rest of the season. And with Freo just getting the win over Hawthorn, so Sydney should be okay against Collingwood this week. Freo should be okay against the Bomb Rays. Freo then have the Saints, Swans, Geelong. That's in Geelong, which is a danger game, obviously. Swans then have Richmond. Freo apparently aren't playing in round 11. There we go. They got the Saints game. They then go to the Gabba. And so it basically all turns, I reckon, into round 11 versus round 12. Do you think the Swans beat the Cats in Geelong in round 11? Do you think Freo can beat the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba? That's really what this entire question comes down to, because the rest of the way, it's pretty not too bad. Like, I mean, Freo have got Geelong again. The Swans have got Brisbane again at the Gabba. So I feel like it might actually be Freo who have a slightly better chance. It just depends if they can win that first Gabba game, because the Swans are going to go up there as well. So really, it comes down to which team's going to beat Brisbane first, I reckon.
I think I tend to agree, and I'm going to go with slightly. And the reason is it depends on when Geelong have their shocker, because Geelong have a shocker every 3-4 weeks.
You do.
Right? So they had the shocker against your beloved Gold Coast Suns. I think there was another one in there. They had a shocker against Port Adelaide. And I think there was another loss, a pretty average loss. But I reckon around that time, they will be due for a shocker. So if it happens to come on that particular night, then it's Sydney all the way. But if not, I think that might be the last loss for quite some time for Sydney, and possibly even the last loss for Freo until maybe they meet on the last day of September.
The tricky part is one of them will, unless we get a draw, because they do play against each other in round 18. So
don't let logic come into my big call that they're going to make the grand final and play each other, Jim. That's just not fair.
I'm just saying they could draw.
Okay, yep, they're going to draw.
Round 18 draw.
Thank you.
In Freo. So, all right.
Lock it in.
There you go. There's the Yeah Nars. There's the awards.
I do have one.
Oh, geez. Let's go.
One, I'm slipping it in here, and I forgot to write it down, but it might be more of an unpopular opinion / yeah nah. But the Friday, I think the AFL announced that the Friday night double headers are here to stay for a little bit longer. Now, I know that you're not a fan, and I know there are plenty of people out there that aren't fans. However, I have found myself enjoying flicking between the two of them. So Friday night double headers. Now, here's my case for them. Let's say Brisbane and Carlton on Friday night turned into what we thought it was going to turn into, and Brisbane are up by 100 points. All of a sudden, there's a game starting. You're watching this Brisbane and Carlton capitulating, and then all of a sudden you see Port Adelaide and Western Bulldogs, and, they're going goal for goal. You know what? Piss off, Brisbane and Carlton. I'm going to watch this one. But then you're sitting there, and then all of a sudden Brisbane stop, and you see the score quickly moving closer and closer. Flick back over. I know we don't like overlap, but in that moment, I actually quite enjoyed it on Friday night, flicking from one to the other as a neutral. If it was Essendon, I would have been like, bugger off. I'm not watching that. But it's a little bit of an unpopular opinion that I actually don't mind it.
Yeah, I think the argument is there. I think they
could space them out a bit more, like make the first game earlier. And then the second game always has to be either a WA or an Adelaide game at the least, because clearly they're behind us and also in time. Yeah. But yeah, I think if they pulled that Melbourne game or even the Eastern States game to 7 o'clock start, because I think at the moment, like I'll just have a quick look at the fixture. It's a 7:30 game in Sydney and then an 8:10. So, and that's in Darwin. So we could probably make that game, the Sydney game, a 7 o'clock start.
Yeah.
Bang on 7 o'clock, and then make the Gold Coast and Port game an 8:30 start.
Yep.
And all of a sudden we've got an hour and a half, so the best part of half a game. So you can quite easily watch the first half of Sydney and Collingwood, and if that's not going any good, you can switch over and watch Gold Coast Suns, and vice versa. If it's going great, you can watch the full game of Sydney Collingwood and watch the second half of Gold Coast Sydney. So I think they need to do it better, but I'm coming around to it, Jim.
I agree. I agree with the space. They just need to space it out. It shouldn't be this difficult. I think we talked about the NRL before, how they do their double headers, and they'll usually have the early game be New Zealand or something like that, right? So it's like super early in the East Coast, and then sort of as you get over to here, because they don't have any like West Coast teams or anything.
Yes,
they're sort of like exactly. They're hard up against it, but I think all it needs is the space. And I think that's the thing that gets me is like when we're overlapping too closely, it's just stupid. It's like,
and then just looking at the fixture here, the thing that the double header on Friday allows is that it means we've got 3 games on Saturday with no overlap.
Yeah.
So we've got a 1:15, a 4:15, a 7:35. Then we've got this time we've got 3 games on Sunday with minimal overlap. So you've got 1:10 to 3:15 to 6:15. Yep. Now there's obviously a little bit of overlap with the Essendon, Freo and St Kilda Richmond game. Probably not such a bad thing because we're probably expecting massive results there. So, but I think they could clearly fix that up a little bit better as well. So,
and so much of it comes down to like I think when they came out today and Andrew Dillon's doing his weird robot thing of like, and then, but this allows our fixtures guys to sort it out. And you're like, oh, this guy is he's got the personality of a plank of wood. But yeah, look. I saw the news today that there's going to be more double headers on the Fridays, and I'm like, I'm resigned to it, but I just need you to space it out for me.
They need to fix it. Yeah.
That's all it is.
100%.
It's not rocket surgery. Come on, man. Anyway, that's a good one.
Thanks, Davey, for that. Yeah, nah.
All right, that's your yeah-nahs. That's your awards. Let's preview and pick round 10.
Do it.
All right, picks and previews for round 10. It is an awesome setup this week, and as you just broke down in the end of yeah-nahs there. The spacing out, we've got 3 games Saturday, 3 games Sunday. You got the 2 on Friday night, the 1 on Thursday. And I do love that they've realised, oh, well, yeah, Thursday night goes really well. It does great with numbers. Like, people watch it. It's like, I believe the thing you're looking for over here is ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding. Oh, duh! Like, we've only been yelling at you for years. So it's a really great setup because Brisbane-Geelong on Thursday night at the Gabba, again, a classic-looking Thursday night game, this one. It is just a great uniform matchup, all-time sort of stuff. 4th versus 5th on the ladder. This is really, really fun. The Lions are 15.5-point favourites at home against the Cats. I think I'm taking Brisbane here, Jez. They let the Blues off the hook a bit. I don't think they do the same to the Cats. 15.5 had me a little bit worried, a little bit shook. But I think they're a little bit
I agree. I think that 3 or 4 goals is probably a good margin. I think this will be a good game for the bulk of it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Geelong keep it even closer, but I'm going to go with Brisbane as well.
Nice. That is a great game, though. 2 teams.
Cracking. Can't wait.
Friday, another really good one too. Sydney Collingwood, as I mentioned, an amazing uniform matchup. The Swans at the SCG are 29.5-point favourites. That is now actually up to 30.5. I absolutely, as soon as I saw this, I'm like, how is this not way more? I'm taking Sydney. So,
yeah, I think, look, in the past, Collingwood have done very well in Sydney, but I think Sydney are obviously never going to lose ever again, or maybe they will, but I think this one they'll cover, and I don't think it'll be an issue. I think they'll probably get to six goals ahead and probably coast from there.
So,
and I think Brodie Grundy always seems to have a point to prove against Collingwood. So I think, he'll probably, don't expect him to be dominant again.
Sydney won the last game at the SCG in a thriller, 89-86, August 24. And yeah, then the time before that, it was weirdly 2022, 95-94. So absolute thrillers apparently between these two teams at the SCG. I just think the Pies are going the wrong way at the moment. Darcy Moore's out for this as well with his concussion. Obviously no Pendles. I'm just taking the Swans. I think they're awesome.
Yep.
Never going to lose. The Swans ever going to lose a game again? No way, they're bloody well not. Gold Coast! 25.5-point favourites. My beloved Suns up against the Power. This is a once again in the NT. I'll see you in the NT, Jez. 9-0, the Suns. The Power. Solid. More solid than we probably expected this season. I am still going to go the Suns. 25.5. I think that back line of the Power can be got. I think the back line of the Suns is really good, and I think they're sort of just like hitting a nice sort of groove at the moment. I think they sort of do almost the exact same as what they did to St Kilda this week, where they win that by like 29 or 30 or whatever it was. I think it's going to be almost exactly the same. So I'm going to go the Suns.
I think I agree. I think the extra week up there, acclimatising and all that jazz. I mean, they live in a similar climate anyway, so I think they'll. Look, Port didn't do a lot wrong, but didn't do a lot right. I think they were below their best, but still managed to keep up with a well underdone Bulldogs team. So, but I think the Gold Coast they've turned their form around a little bit, and I think they're probably heading in the opposite direction of Collingwood, for example. So I'm going to go with the Suns also.
I love this Friday night though. I'm so stoked for it already. I'm like, I'm going to have skin full of beers, just sitting on the couch, just going, I love footy. All right, so we've gone the same pick so far.
I feel that'll change, don't worry.
Saturday, Adelaide, North Melbourne. Roos. I like this. This is a really fun game as well. Obviously, Adelaide coming off the win over here against the Tigers. The Roos away from home at having played at Marvel this week against the Swans have been very, very good. I worry about the Roos on the road. I feel like that's the one sort of big thing for North Melbourne that we've sort of not quite gotten over yet here, Jez. What do you reckon?
I am going to back the Roos because I don't think they'll win, but Adelaide have been getting by just, and I think they're still well below their best. Got a lot of injuries and a lot of players out of form. We haven't seen anything out of the Thriller yet. I think North's defence is quite solid, although prone to some brain farts. So I'm going to take North to cover this one. I think Adelaide will still get home, and I think this might be another very close within a goal sort of result. So
I've actually gone the Roos as well because I think you're right. Because I think they cover, because I think even if you look at the game, so they lose obviously at Marvel, but they lose to GWS a couple of weeks ago. That was really close.
Should have won that one.
And then the one in between, like they basically stuck with Geelong for 3 and a tiny bit quarters, and then it all came tumbling down. So I'm going to go the Roos. I think they lose it, but I think they keep that one tight.
Yep.
We then have an absolute belter of a game at the MCG. I went to this game last year with my brother-in-law and old mate's cousin because it was like pre-baby. They're sort of pre-baby, last hurrah, MCC. First time the brother-in-law went, right, if we have to wear ties for his thing, let's get tickets to the long room. And I'm like, I'm not fancy enough for that. Had a great time. But Melbourne, Hawthorn. So we spent most of the time in the bar watching this game. And
as you do in the members.
And Hawthorn were just very good. And like they sort of just put the D's to the sword. And then the D's sort of fought back as we're sitting in the long room with some absolutely soused D's fan. Talking about how he's onto his 5th wife and all this sort of stuff. It was hilarious. They came flying back. They're 18.5-point underdogs here against the Hawks. Hawks coming back from the West. They did play on the Thursday night, though, last week, so a little bit of extra time to sort of get back to the swing of things. Is 18.5 enough here? I don't know. This is a really interesting line. What do you reckon, Jez?
Not only do I think that it's enough, I think the D's can win this.
Way, look out.
I think the D's, there's no Barras for Hawthorn. They've got their injury list is building. I think there's a little bit of doubt over Gunston, who was a bit lame. And the D's, I think they seem to rise to the top sides. They almost got over Sydney, who will never lose again. They've beaten the Brisbane Lions. They love playing in the afternoon on the G. I'm going with the D's.
I'm going to go with Hawthorn because I don't think Melbourne are used to playing on a Saturday at the MCG. They're just like, what?
That is true.
It's like, what's going on? Weirdly enough, neither of them have actually lost at the G this year. So I'll take the Hawks. I think even without Barras, they might have just enough. I don't know if that Melbourne forward line is going to worry me overly much without Myercheck as well. Van Rooyen was obviously very good this week, but I think the Hawks' battery of forwards might be a little bit too good. That's a really fun game, though. Then we've got Carlton Western Bulldogs. My beloved Blues, 13.5-point underdogs. at home at
Are you
Marvel.
going to go the dead coach bounce, Jim? Are you going to back him?
I am going to take my beloved Blues. Ooh. It is the dead coach bounce. It is the absolute, we're going to put it all on the line and, oh, my God, maybe Voss was the problem and then we don't win another game the rest of the – no. The Dogs without Tinglish is my biggest problem, and I think that's why the line is actually as low as it is. So I'm going to take the Blues to sort of only probably lose by about – if it's a 13.5-point line, yeah, I think roughly similar to the Brisbane game this week where they lose by 11, but they're in it. So I'm going to take the Blues. Marvel's always weird, but the Dogs could also win this by like 70, and it doesn't matter that Tinglish isn't playing and like they look like an absolute rabble, the Blues, because they don't have a coach who was the only thing keeping them together, maybe. I don't know. But I'll take the Blues.
So you're taking the Blues. I'm going to take the Dogs because I think that they play Marvel a lot better, and I think that they're obviously a better coach.
Yep.
But I think what would be the best outcome here and would make me quite giggle quite a lot is if Carlton were up by 6 goals at halftime and lost. That would be the funniest thing ever. That would be so good. But no, I think the dead coach bounce and tinfoil hat on, I think the dead coach bounce was the second half last week. I reckon at halftime he told him, if you boys win this, I'll quit. And then he went, you know what, good enough.
I love it. So last 2 times these teams have played, Carlton were never, I never thought Carlton were going to win these games. And Carlton didn't, but they lost by 14 and 8 the last 2 years. There was a game that I went to with my uncle, actually, was visiting from the UK. And so I feel like that was...
Is that Uncle Mark?
It is. I think he was over and hanging out. We went to one of these games. And
friend and avid listener of the show, Uncle Mark. How you doing?
Shouts to Uncle Mark, the legend, the man, the myth.
Very much so.
And so we got to a game and actually the Blues managed to hold on to win. I think that was the 2022 game. So good times. It was a good chat as well because it was like, I think the last time he'd been going to football in Melbourne, Docklands wasn't there. It's like, that's amazing.
That's a long time ago.
Pretty good.
Long time.
All right. Then we've got Essendon Freo is the first game on Sunday. That's a really... Look, this could be a really entertaining game. So I'm assuming this is Marvel.
110.
Marvel at 110?
Yes. Yep. I don't think we'll ever play Freo at the MCG unless it's in obviously 20-odd years in a final.
No, this is actually at the G. I had to check because I'm like, wait, St Kilda Richmond's the game after. They're surely not going to play that at the G with Saints as the home team. So Essendon Freo at the MCG. That was...
I'll just have to go back and eat those words, won't I?
I
am hungry.
Throws a bit of a spanner in the wrench, doesn't it? The 34.5-point line for the Dons. Is that still 34.5? Yes, it is. So... We both picked Essendon last week to cover against GWS. They did. Mm-hmm. Can they do it against an even better Freo team? At the G, however.
I'm going to say yes. Because I think Fremantle are just doing enough. If this was over in WA, then I reckon we'd probably get done by 100. But I think the fact that it's here and at the G, I think we've got a chance to... It could quite easily end up being double that.
Yep.
But I'm going to back him.
Nice.
I'm a positive Bombers Jazz today.
I like that. I'm going to take Freo. They're so much better than you. St Kilda. St Kilda Richmond, as we just ascertained, they are playing this game at Marvel. The Saints are 41.5-point favourites, and I think they kill them. With apologies.
This could be another 100-pointer.
Yeah, this could be, I think. I think you're taking the Saints as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Richmond as well doesn't... I think there's like a levelling for Richmond at the G where they sort of know it pretty well. They play it pretty well. Obviously against the Crom, they were pretty good. But Marvel, Saints are like Marvel specialists, you feel like at times. And, I think they'll kill them. So, and then the final game of the week, West Coast, 30.5-point underdogs at home against GWS, which has me very interested in taking West Coast.
I think I'm going to do the same. I just don't rate if it was in Giant, wherever the Giants, home ground is these days, I would probably think they'd get a bit of a runner. But West Coast at home, they were pretty spirited, I guess you could say, against the D's. I think they can cover that. Well, it's more that I don't have that much confidence in GWS. It's a pretty ordinary team.
GWS have blown West Coast out pretty badly the last 3 times they've played. 111-52, 132-51, 108-43. Their highest score has been 52. Oh, jeez. 2 of those games have been out west as well. I might
you told me into it.
I might stick with GWS looking at that.
Yeah.
So you're going GWS?
No, I'm going to go GWS too, yeah.
There we go. That is your round 10 picks. Jeez. That's pretty good. Last week I managed to pull 2 back on you, so it's 43-41 against the Lions so far.
And so what do we got? We got 1, 2, 3 different. So you could be in the lead this time next week.
Let's see how we go. Slevo's Punters Club for this week. And I have gone back-to-back wins, so having taken Brisbane, Essendon over, North and Sydney over this week, I'm taking the Thriller to go 3+, laddering into 4+. I think he has a pretty big game against the Roos at home. He's sort of, you don't want to be like, he's due, but he's due.
Yeah, he is due, isn't he?
Especially at home, up against the Roos. I think he goes whack and has a really big game.
Yeah. Well, mine didn't come up. McInerney got 22 but didn't kick a goal. So from last week, I am actually going to go with Aaron Cadman to kick 3+. That's
a great call, actually, against the Weagles.
Yep.
Because he kicked one of those big ones against your dudes. Was that
did.
Third or was that in the 4th quarter? I think actually when it sort of started turning back their other way. So.
Yeah, he's very close, I think, to a big breakout. He's young Aaron Cadman. So
love it. Nice.
This could be it.
All right, like it. Well, I'll press a button. And that is it for the round 9 wrap, the round 10 preview episode.
Got there in the end.
I love it. We did. We survived technical failures as
did we what?
As per usual, I guess. It just keeps breaking down. This is a really fun week of footy, so I'm excited to sort of strap in. This is like the last week of footy I get over here. So we will do the wrap-up next week. After that, I don't know what's going to happen for 2 weeks. We might try to rope in the stats boy.
Might be Jez.
Might get the
stats
boy to jump in and take my spot. I don't know. Me calling in from New York or wherever I am. So we'll see. Anyway, follow us on the socials. Chuck us through some yeah-nahs. Any other comments, queries, questions, debates, problems?
It doesn't even have to be a yeah-nah. It can be an unpopular opinion. It can be a whatever. You can tell us where you think Desi Freeman was hiding all those times if that's what you want to do. You can tell us he's alive. You can tell us where he is and we can split the million. Ooh. But just anything. Just get in touch. There's been some interesting commentary around the power rankings, which I've quite enjoyed. So loving that. But just get in touch. We want you involved. We need your involvement.
Yeah, people are saying I'm the greatest AFL power ranker alive. So
yeah, I think there was something about Wish mentioned there. But anyway,
yeah. Didn't quite track that one, but anyway. So make sure you're subscribed across all of your different podcast apps, etc. Jump on the YouTube, bang on the notifications for when the bits and bobs go up. We'll see how we go with the video feed this week with some interruptions. I don't know, but we'll do what we can. But that's it. Until next week, stay off the rubbish gear. This has been Footy Unfilterated. We'll catch you next week.
See ya.